welcome back to MeyCreers. I'm Nicole Meyer, and this is a podcast where I discuss my thoughts and perspectives on the world of work today. Each month, we're going to cover topics surrounding career development, professional advancement, the future of employment, recruiting and retaining the best talent, and understanding how your behavior can propel you forward or drag you down. This week, we're talking about skills, competencies, and strengths, and using them to your best advantage. Data suggests that if you are excelling at work by using your strengths and the skills you enjoy, then you're happier and more content. You have the job you want, the job you like, the job you enjoy. It'll be a job that doesn't feel like a job. Plus, how do you progress or look for a new job when you can't articulate your strengths or your competencies? How can you have any control over your career if you don't understand what you're good at and where you excel? When we're talking about skills, identifying them and capitalizing on them, there are 4 stages of learning, 4 stages of competence. First, unconscious incompetence. Frankly, that means you're not good at something and you don't even know it. There is a skill gap, and that's an opportunity to do something about it. Then there's conscious incompetence. You're not good at something and you're aware of it. You are aware that it is not your strength. You may or may not want to learn that skill. You need to make that decision. Next is unconscious competence. You're good at something. You have a strength. You just don't realize it yet. And finally, there's conscious competence. This is where we want to live. You are aware that you're excelling at something. You know you're good at something. It's a strength and you are aware of it. Look, this is about awareness. It's about learning and development. It's about knowing what you're good at and taking advantage of it. This is what we're going to be talking about. And let's face it, you need that level of awareness to excel, to be happy, to succeed. You spend a lot of your time in the office. Why wouldn't you want to know what you're good at and stay there, stay in that lane? Plus, it'll help you know where to focus your energy and your efforts. If you know you're good at something, you can use that to your advantage. It's a competitive world and you need to play to your strengths. And or you need to fill a skill gap. With this knowledge, you can identify the environments in which you can succeed and thrive. In the same way, if you know that something's not your forte, as I said, you can find ways to compensate for that, or you can learn a new skill if that's important to your success. No surprise, it's the things we don't know that pose unexpected hurdles and roadblocks. That can hurt your career. So let's talk about skills and competencies. What are your strengths? Where do you add most value? In what capacity are you strongest? As a salesperson, a product manager, a strategist, an analyst, a programmer, a coder? Think about what you were hired to do. What does your job description say? What are you accountable for? What are your daily responsibilities? What defines success? I think if you think about that, you'll start to think of skills and competencies. The job description is a great place to start. Also, what was highlighted in your last performance appraisal? What did your manager say to you about performance? By the way, if you haven't had a performance appraisal in the last 12 months, get one. Ask for one. You have that right. That'll be a topic of another podcast. Stay tuned for that. We will talk about how to prepare for performance appraisals. So, again, thinking about what you do every day, if your day is flying by, what is it that you're doing? What is the skill you're using? If the day lingers and goes on forever, similarly, what are you doing? These are simple ways to identify skills that you may or may not enjoy. Again, it's about consciousness. Think about when you feel most excited at the office and at work. What are you doing? What are you thinking about? For me, it was obvious early on that I was good at sales. I sold pencils and erasers in elementary school. I ran the school store in high school. I was organized, diligent, strong on sourcing goods, and I could sell. I always knew that I'd be in sales. I want to spend a minute or two running off a list of skills and competencies. This is not a thorough or exhaustive list, but it's a start. And let me start by saying that strengths can be a combination of soft skills like collaboration and hard skills like software development or programming. I'm listing skills because I think we often forget that we leverage skills all day long. We use them all day long. And again, it's about bringing this into your consciousness so you can develop and advance your career. Okay, list ahead: leadership, networking, storytelling, communications skills, written and oral, analytical skills, Excel expertise, payments subject matter expertise, negotiation, time management, process improvement, P&L management, product management, sales, creating partnerships, innovation and creativity, data analysis, programming, project management, problem solving, time management, strategic planning, revenue management, teamwork, tenacity, a sense of humor, follow through, curiosity, mathematics, risk assessment, public speaking, social media strategy, execution, relationship building, artificial intelligence, accounting, forecasting. By the way, an article was published really recently by Forbes magazine, and empathy was noted as the most important leadership skill. So, with that in mind, think about which of these areas you're passionate about and good at, and look below the surface. Here's a good example. You might like to draw, that's a strength. You may or may not draw in your job, but what that means about you is that you are likely patient, creative, you have attention to detail. This is what you need to do. Bring these skills into your consciousness. So, really, how do you know where you're succeeding or falling short? You may know this already, but many, many people don't. Look, there are obvious ways to know if you're good at something. If you are regularly hitting or going above your targets, you're meeting deadlines, or getting things done ahead of time, well, it's clear that you excel at something. And if you're never meeting your deadlines, you're falling short on your key performance indicators, then you probably need to work on a particular skill set. And still, it might not be clear cut. So, really, how do you figure out what your skills are? Again, looking at that job description. But you can also turn to a mentor or a manager you trust. Your peers can offer useful insight on skills or challenges you may be overlooking. I encourage you to find time and sit down with people, ask for feedback, talk through where you're succeeding and where you have room to learn. Feedback is a gift. It really is. And when used correctly, when you're open to feedback, it can launch you in a new direction, in a new career. It can help you understand and bring into that consciousness what you are good at, what your strength is. By the way, also being open to feedback is another strong leadership trait. Now, look, I know it can be challenging to hear where you're falling short or where people perceive that you're lacking in a particular skill set, but don't you want to know that? Don't you want to achieve this conscious competence we've been talking about? So get that outside perspective. It really is invaluable. And if you see a peer or a mentor thriving in an area where you have difficulty, ask for advice. People love to give advice. Ask for advice and insight on how to build those skills. At the end of the day, nobody does everything right. We all have things we can improve upon. It can be as simple as a lack of knowledge on a particular topic, or sometimes it's more complicated, like you need to break a bad habit. You can also take a personality test. There are a couple out there that are popular and seem to give people additional insight into their skills and strengths. Myers-Briggs or Hogan or Gallup, those seem to be the most popular. So here's my own personal story about feedback and achieving conscious competence, learning what I was good at and not good at. So I'm an excellent salesperson and relationship builder. That is a core strength, and it comes naturally. I grew up in banking before I launched this recruitment firm. I could sell, I did it well, I always exceeded quotas. And as a natural progression, I was asked to take on the management of a large team, more than 20 people. It seemed like a logical progression. I got a nice salary bump and a bigger title, but I was miserable, really unhappy doing administrative work. I hated stepping away from clients in the front line, and I was not good at the politics of management. but I thought it was the right path. I thought it was what was expected of me in my career. Well, it really wasn't the right path. And through feedback, I really learned that my strength is not large team people management. When I finally let go of the team, I was so much happier and I was even more successful. Now, to be clear, I had a choice. I had a choice to work on my management skills or to let them go. I chose the latter. Some of you may not have a choice. And then you're going to need to change how you work. You're going to need to change your behavior, change your skill sets, or you need to change your job. Once you've figured out a plan of action for strengthening the areas that come as more of a challenge, find ways to turn your strengths into assets. If you thrive in presentations and communication, find an opportunity to speak at a conference or event. If you excel at organization and teamwork, consider turning that energy into a leadership position. Put extra energy into fine-tuning your strengths. It doesn't have to be huge or life-changing. Small steps, small efforts can build on each other and take you to new heights. Self-assessment and awareness are the keys to growth. Don't let fear of criticism keep you from unlocking and reaching your full potential. Seek feedback and advice from people you trust and look up to. Take opportunities to showcase your talents. Don't hide from the skills that you struggle with. Seek them out and give yourself the chance to flip the script. Who knows? You may be able to turn a weakness into a new strength. Thank you for joining me for another episode of MeyCreers. Please send feedback. Did it help? Did you learn something? What did you learn? How did this help you advance your career? I look forward to being with you again soon. I'd like to address your interests as well. If you have a topic you'd like to talk about, please get in touch at podcasts@meyerpartnership.com or on LinkedIn as Nicole Meyer. On Twitter, it's Nicole Meyer TMP, or you can visit our website, which is meyerpartnership.com. If you have any questions, you'd like to book me as a speaker, please email us at podcasts@meyerpartnership.com. You can find episodes of MeyCreers on our website, as well as on Spotify, Apple Music, Audible, anywhere you listen to podcasts. Like, subscribe, and listen to advance your career.